All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cow Corner Dugout. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting time of the IPL. RR, they basically surprised everybody by beating PBKS. And now they're potentially on the verge of losing to Delhi Capitals, who are otherwise placed slightly lower on the table. And that's the whole, you know, uh, the volatility of the tournament, that a team that could beat the top team could also lose to a bottom team. And that's exactly the phase that we've entered in the IPL. And to discuss with me on that are our usual suspects, Trinay and Nirav. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
And yeah, you're the only two guys with all fancy headsets. Huh? I'm just having a simple headphone, which where my head is showing. You guys are having all these big headsets around.
You clearly have the best hair,
Is that where the world is going?
no, you have nice hair to show off. Neerav and I
Well,
can't say the same. So
True that. Partly, and I'm just gotten over my Bluetooth phase, so I'd rather just use wired as many times as
no, I
possible
think
because the wired option on the phone is gone completely, right? Like now you
yeah,
don't get wired
right.
headphones for the phone anymore. You don't like there is no my iPhone. There's no input where I can. I mean, unless I use a Lightning to. It's a complicated one. So given that I'm using my Bluetooth on on my phone most of the time, when I sit at my desk, then I like to just use good old fashioned wired headphones
All right. And as we get
and
there,
enjoy good old
today,
fashioned wired KL Rahul's batting.
wow, man. Now actually have a question. Given that KL Rahul scored, I last saw him on 73 of 39 while the game is going on in this chase.
He's
Do you
out.
think on flat? Okay. Do you think on flat wickets, and that's the problem of watching on streaming, that you have information coming a little late. Do you think KL Rahul, technically in the scheme of things that are there for the newer age of T20, has a chance? We've asked this question before. Given that the World Cup is going to happen in Australia, last time we had somebody high quality player like Virat Kohli, even though he doesn't accelerate in the beginning. Do you think there's a case for KL Rahul as a backup opener? Both
not
of you
even
guys are saying
close.
no.
Agreed.
Not even close.
We had that similar question for Sanju Samson. It's like, and like Neera was like, "What? Sanju Samson? How come he's not there?" And then Sanju Samson, there's no news that Sanju Samson might actually replace Rishabh Pant. Of course, it's not confirmed news, but of course, when rumors start to come, there can't be smoke without a fire, and that's how we're thinking about it. I'm just thinking, man, is given that the World Cup is in Australia, and still 2.5 years. It's 26. We're only going to play in 28 November,
Two and a
December.
bit, yeah.
Actually, it's a little too far fetched. Yeah. Sometimes I just think, oh, wow, do we have
No,
we
one
switched
second,
off
one second. No, no,
clear
no, 1 second. One and a half. 27 is the 50 over World Cup.
50 over World Cup, but
2020,
50 over
yeah.
World Cup
20,
राहुल तो खेलेगा. मैं T20 का बात कर रहा हूँ.
2020 is 28. Um,
वही
June
ढाई
is the
साल है ना.
Olympics, and June is the Olympics. November is the World Cup.
November is the World Cup. So anyway, I think that's a little too far fetched because 2.5 years, a lot of things happen. In 2024,
Yeah,
nobody knew that.
I mean, there's two IPLs before that, right? Apart from this one,
Right.
and IPL is what sets the mood for the Indian team selection. I think for T20s especially, and in cases in the past Test matches as well. But having said that,
I got a test against Australia based off some IPL form rate.
yeah,
Yeah, the
that
Nagpur Test
happens.
match. I've been to Sky's only test.
Oh no.
From took a flight from Chennai to Nagpur. I remember that flight.
He scored 9 runs across both innings, I think. Peak comedy. I was having a
Only
good
one
laugh with it.
innings India played. In India only played once because the day I went, Australia were bowled out for 81 or something like that. 13 wickets fell on that day, and I was basically paying the cost for a test match per ball. Literally, I think it was only some 20 overs or 25 overs that day. But
All I
that
remember
said,
is he made
today's
literally
game,
no runs. Yeah.
all you remember is
He made no runs. He made like 9 or something. And then they dropped him and they
right.
never picked him in the squad again.
Didn't he make a duck?
I don't remember how much Surya Kumar Yadav made, but I think it's better we do a little
It's not
Google of his
memorable.
name. Definitely not memorable. But yes, today 225 Delhi Capitals are in that chase. They require 31 of 19 balls. You still think that this is in their arc now that you have somebody like Tristan Stubbs and Ashutosh Sharma batting?
Yeah, I think so. I think they should fancy it from this point. Having said that, they could bottle it, but yeah, it goes to show like what you were saying earlier. There's 31 or 19 should be okay, right?
Yeah.
Um, so Punjab chased down 260 against Delhi. Delhi is chasing down 230 against RR. RR chased down 230 against Punjab. So it's a one of those things where the chasing team wins. So there's not much to separate them apart from the toss. I think today Riyan Parag won the toss and looked at his watch and said, "Oh boy, it's me. Maybe we should bat first." Right? So
Right.
I, I think that he still didn't perhaps get it right, and maybe the weather changes or the pitch condition changes haven't reached Jaipur yet. I think this is only the second game in Jaipur because I mean, though it's the back of the season, RR been playing at their home games at Guwahati, right?
Guwahati.
So I think the baking of the pitches and the spinners coming into the game. I mean, I'm actually wondering whether spinners will ever come into the game again because it's just becomes so easy to hit sixes. Whatever these guys are doing, I mean, John Donovan Ferreira was he wasn't even taking a backswing. He was just holding the bat like this, just pushing the ball, pushing his hands through the ball and getting sixes for fun. And so I don't know.
As we speak about Riyan Parag winning the toss, choosing to bat first, I remember the thing that he said at the toss was that, "Hey, we expect the wicket to slow down as the game goes on, and as a result, we're happy to get the runs on the board first." That's a question from Ajinkya comes saying, "Is Riyan one of the worst captains this season?" I don't think it's worse than Rahane, but nevertheless, it's a question for
One
both of you.
off
No, I'll
because
start
your
from the
namesake,
bottom.
your
It's
namesake is the worst.
Karthik, no.
No, 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 not yours. Ajinkya's. His namesake is
yes.
the worst captain this year.
Okay. No, I'll start with Rishabh Pant, whose team is at 10, and then Ajinkya Rahane, then maybe Ruturaj Gaikwad, just going up, and definitely Hardik Pandya is in the mix in that.
I'd argue that Pandya is worse than Gaikwad.
Well, only currently. We'll see tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, I think Rian definitely isn't one of the best captains around. He's still learning the ropes. It's been like the first full season that he's got. He had captained a few games last season when Sanju Samson was playing as an impact player because he wasn't completely available. So, but yeah, today it's been interesting to see Delhi Capitals put this fight. And where are we technically on the points table here? Do we have
We'll have to pull it.
the
We'll,
point?
we'll have to pull it back. I mean, it's still the same points table as yesterday. So we'll wait till the
So I
game
think
is ended and then pull up the points.
Yeah.
yeah, for some reason I thought Delhi had already won. Of course, they're 196
No,
for
no,
three in 17 overs. 30 runs required in 3 overs. Should be their game. Ashutosh is
should be a
scoring
walk.
13 of 7. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of batting to come. Like they've actually put up their. There's a lot of. They haven't obviously just used their impacts up. Um, but there is, they're pretty much a couple of more batters on the bench. There's Samir Rizvi, there's Akshar Patel. They might, if they need to use an impact sub, perhaps I think Vipraj Nigam could come in and do the job as well. I don't see the need for Delhi to panic. This 30 of 3 overs is par. I mean, is well under par. So they've gotten a good. I mean, they played the game well. Like they've kept themselves always in the chase. They were 70 odd in the power play, and they just kept going at tens. So
If
that
they get Stubbs, if Stubbs bats to the last over, then they've got this match, right?
yeah, because
Delhi's
Stubbs
power.
only begins batting in the 18th. Though that's
Yeah,
his.
exactly.
That's his. He's always a runner ball till then, and right now he is 4 of 5.
Yeah. Ashutosh seems to be taking the game head on as of now. And
I
I
mean, that's
think
his job,
Stubbs
right?
is
That's
stepping
his job.
himself.
He's been sent up. He's been
Yeah.
sent earlier to. I mean, he's the finisher.
Thoughts on David Miller's exclusion from this Delhi side?
Not a bad option. I feel they wanted to play. See, their Indian opening bowling attack wasn't doing the job in the last 3 4 games, which is Akib and Mukesh. So I think they wanted control of the power play. And I think on both fronts they made the correct call. They brought in Jameson and Mitchell Stark to take the new ball on, and then they have Pathunge Sanka and KL Rahul to take the new ball on as batters. And I think on both fronts, their power play game vastly, beat Delhi, Rajasthan. So I think if you win both power plays, you tend to win the match. So the move was a positive, aggressive move. Um, Good captaincy, good management selections, whatever. I think the fact that David Miller is coming in at 5'6", they have those that I mean they have a replacement for him. Tristan Stubbs can do that role. I feel Ashutosh they brought in can do that kind of role. So they don't really need to. They need positive starts on both fronts.
So you think this is the right combination for the rest of the season? They should stick with this, or would you bring back Miller for the next game?
I mean, I would bring in Ngidi in place of Jameson. Unfortunately, that would be the only. So they have a problem of plenty of overseas players, and you notice that beginning of the season they threw out Donovan Ferreira and sent them packing to Rajasthan, right? So
Right.
they DC is one of the few people with an overkill of quality overseas players,
Yeah.
and given that quality, they should be in the top four, but they aren't. So they've had a
Same
couple of
goes for
horrendous.
MI, right? Both DC and MI probably had a surplus of talent, but mismanaged talent, we should say, because both of them are lingering in mid to lower table.
I
Quite
I
unfortunate.
don't. I mean, I don't know MI's talent pool whether their overseas players are fighting for spots, right? I mean, they're
They have two world-class South African openers who are fighting for a spot.
yeah.
Bolt in
I think
any other
once
season
two
is
two
quality.
people in one
He's
spot.
dropped
Yeah,
off drastically.
yeah,
Then
fair enough.
Sherfin's been good.
Yeah,
Gazanfar has been really good actually. He's been a Noor level spinner, if I do say so myself.
yes, yes, this year for sure.
Yeah, the Indian talent's also there. I mean, Sky's India captain. You've got Rohit, Bumrah, India's best talent as well. So you'd expect
Yeah,
them to qualify at the very minimum, which they're in ninth.
yeah. I think most people had predicted MI as one of the top four.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Prasanna Agoram, aka P Dog, said that Delhi was first and MIT second, or vice versa. He,
yeah,
yeah, and both are stacked, and one is fighting for a playoff spot, if any, and the other is fighting with LSG to not come 10th. So,
yeah. I mean,
well,
it's
that does show you the IPL can go.
yeah. I'm just going to address one comment here. This is
Yeah,
from Ajinkya again. I feel Delhi should give a few chances to Prithvi. Ajinkya, what I feel is I mean, Delhi is doing not too well, being at number 7, but I think they have one of the most intelligent and well-rounded, informed management support staff kind of group. They use data fairly well, and because they're all Indians, they actually use the Indian talent fairly well. And I would definitely believe that they have seen what people are doing in the nets, and which is why they have been doing two things, which is pushing Nitish Rana ahead of um, Abhishek Porel. Both kind of fit that same spot, and I think that is largely to do with assessing who's got a higher ceiling, right? And I've been saying this a few times, Abhishek Porel, yes, he's very good with his 20s, 30s, 40s, occasional 50, but can he get? I mean, my judge for a top order batsman is can you get 145 balls? And if you can, then you deserve your spot on potential. And you have to be given that chance, 6, 8 matches to be allowed that. And if your top three aren't able to do that, then they don't deserve to be in the top three. And I think the teams which are suffering currently are people where that's not happening. One is your namesake. I don't think Ajinkya Rahane can get 100 in 45 balls, and I don't think Ankush Raghuvanshi can get a 145 balls. So that is why perhaps LSG is suffering, and that's my yardstick. So I think DC have made their calls for better or for worse. Karun today is listed as an impact sub. He's not actually in the 11. And Karun again is a player who could, on a given day, I mean, we've seen that against MI last year. He has that ceiling where, he gets on a bit of a roll. He's a beautiful player to watch. Very, very in that KL level of skill, but not quite in the consistency and the deliverability. So I don't know if they will risk because they tried this last game. They tried that Sahil fellow also, right? Sahil Parekh or whatever his
Sahil
name was.
Parekh. Yeah,
Obviously, if they thought he is still a better option than Prithvi Shaw, then I think you know I mean, Prithvi is little lower in the pecking order.
Could it be a disciplinary issue? I mean, I don't want to speculate here. I haven't heard anything, but we have seen in the past that IPL teams, don't want him around because of his fitness and discipline,
Then
right?
they wouldn't have selected
That's
him.
why he went
Then they,
unsought.
would, then they wouldn't have selected him. They wouldn't have picked him up earlier.
On that note, on my screen, Delhi needs 16 of 14 balls, so
Yeah,
can this match is
that's pretty
done, right?
much it.
I mean, Deshpande can't stop bowling wides. Stubbs is still
That's pretty.
rotating.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, it's a runner ball from here now. So
Yeah.
you'd fancy. Okay, let's talk about some of the matchups. I think one of them would be or the match narratives, and one of them I think would be what the return of Mitchell Stark.
Yeah, I mean, uh, the headline says it right. He was Delhi's best bowler by far, in my opinion, and many people would share that as well. He got them 3 wickets, one in the first over, which was probably his worst one. Nearly a waist high full toss to get Jaiswal out. Probably some
Yeah,
BGT PTSD, if I do say so myself. And he was pretty economical until the last over where Ferrara took him for a
yeah.
four and a six.
Ferreira took him. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but he was
So,
making
but
batting
still,
look effortless at that
three
point.
three overs for 40. Um,
Four for 40.
Despite having one, I think he was 26 of of 3 overs and then went for 14
Yeah.
or something in the last.
Yes.
So that is, I mean, just you bowl the death, then if you bowl power play and death and finish with 3 for 40, you've done a very good job. I think in a situation like this, a man of the match performance, player of the match performance.
Yeah, he got Jadeja out as well at a crucial juncture, just when Jadeja looked like he was going to start going.
No,
And
just when Donovan Ferreira was ready, he got Jadeja. So I
true.
think that was a blessing in disguise for RR.
Yeah, and these guys are, as you mentioned earlier on the show, they are stacked for overseas options, right? Everybody's competing for a spot. So who goes out when Lungi comes back? Because Lungi is their specialist death bowler. And yeah, and as we said before, Jameson unfortunately has to go, and he wasn't all that bad either. But I'd like to see what Stark and Ngidi can do together when Ngidi gets back.
I still feel Ngidi obviously deserves and makes his place back whenever he wants to. And there's to be somebody, I mean, obviously, Kyle Jamieson will not get a look in, although he did a decent enough job in the power play today.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then that still leaves another new ball bowler which DC needs. And so they probably need to look at Mukesh coming back or somebody else, right? Maybe Akib. I don't know if Akib Nabi will get another look in.
It's probably Mukesh,
But
right?
why aren't
Because
Mukesh and Akib Nabi actually playing?
they kept getting smashed, right?
Well, they're not playing now. They started the
I
tournament.
know,
Yeah.
but I think
Better
Delhi's
bowling
kind of
options, and these
uncovered
two are better.
what is their, better combination of sorts, right? With respect to their foreign players, with respect to who they
I
have
think
right
they're
now. Of
getting there.
course,
They're getting there.
Lungi Nigiri. Hmm.
They're getting there. I think Ingidi obviously comes back in for Kyle Jamieson, but then that still leaves David Miller out, right? So there is a problem of plenty in this. So if they discovered another opener, perhaps tried Abhishek Purel as an opener, and then bring in Miller, I don't think they're having a problem of middle order players because
Right.
there is Nitish Rana who's done all right. Samir Rizvi has done all right. There is Stubbs. There is Akshar. Today there's Ashutosh Rana, but generally they might find a Karun Nair somewhere in there. So I think their middle order seems to be okay with enough quality.
Yeah.
Have they performed well enough? I don't know, but on at least there is enough quality there. The problem has been, if they get Pathum in, then either one they lose an overseas bowler or an overseas middle order finisher, right?
Yeah.
So today it was Pathum which I think today was a good call. David Miller is not needed in such games as much as a Pathum is needed.
Pathum when he comes off, yeah, but when you have an opener of his quality and you're using an overseas slot on him, and he put together a string of low scores, right? When he gets out as quickly as he
No,
does.
he didn't actually. I mean, it's he hasn't. What I feel has not happened is he has not gotten going after he's got 340s before this, right? And this is, I think, he's missed out 1 or 2 games, so this might be his seventh or eighth game, and he's doing okay. He's got 200 plus runs in halfway in the season, so it's a competent enough thing. He's got 340s back to back. In fact, if I remember right, against one was against MI. So he's I mean, obviously paling in the shadow of Rahul, but he's gotten them away to the good starts. He's had only like one or two major failures.
Mm. Yeah, and this is a side that you can probably put together two competent 11s and they'd give any team a good fight, right? With the squad composition that they have. That's just how good they are. And unfortunately, I feel for a good chunk of the season, they haven't got their combinations right. And if they did, they could have placed first or even second, first or second. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. Best case scenario, they finish fourth, nothing more than that. And a team like RR,
I mean,
which not
they have to really get a move on to get to the top four. I think
yeah,
this weekend will pretty much decide if the teams which are below are not beating the teams on top by the end of this weekend, then I think that's how it's going to stay. So the only way for their, for this next 3 4 days, there are teams, there are games between the amongst the where one of the top five plays the bottom five, and if the bottom five team beats the top five team, then only you'll see a little bit of table thing. Otherwise, that this by the end of this week it will be decided. By Friday, by the time by next Friday comes around, the top four will have cemented their spots
I
because
think it's already
each
decided.
of the top four are just 2 games away.
I know it's already decided. That's what we were speaking about yesterday. That the top five sides today have that chance, the other five don't. But what Nira was saying is there is an opportunity that okay, if the bottom five sides do not change their game or do not are not able to sufficiently show that gap that exists, then it's going to stay that way. And then yeah, whatever teams are there at the top, they're the only ones that are going to go, and we'll know that in about 4 5 days. That's what he's saying. And then it's just a
Yeah, I think
practice
it will be
matches for the playoffs.
by the time the 10, each one has played 10, which is not very far away, which is the end of this week, because most teams are already on 9. By the time they play 10 games, if they all at, if the top two teams are, or top four teams are at 14s, which is likely because they're currently at 12s. So once you make 14 of 10, then there's no way to really, like, you can't lose 4 out of 4 or 3 out of 4 after that. You don't expect them to. Well, these teams you don't. If there was an LSG or Punjab, even I would say, had that kind of a earlier Punjab used to do such things.
Yeah,
RR
the earlier
sometimes used
Punjab
to
was
do.
a slight joke. I don't know if you'd consider them a bigger or a smaller joke than old time RCB. But this
Yeah. So
current
a lot of
Punjab
those teams
is
have changed. That those narratives have changed post 2020.
A lot has changed, right? So, but yeah, now Delhi Capitals moves to the sixth spot in the table that we have right now, and yeah, it's been pretty topsy turvy. Chennai Super Kings now will move to the seventh. How much 1 run required or 5 balls?
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Smashatosh finishes
Or
instead.
how they already won?
Yeah. No,
it's
they
yeah, they
just
won
finished.
because they missed out on a free hit. The last ball was a no ball, race tight full toss, given as a no ball, but they've already won with that.
So will they have to bowl it's a waste type full toss? That what
Yeah,
happens
but
to the no
but
ball? That
that
would technically help with net run rate, right?
it could because you don't get so they've taken a single and it's a no ball, so that ball doesn't count and you get 2 runs. So I mean that's about all it helps. If it
On
carries
the
forward to the next match, that would be fun for the whoever team is batting.
Fun
yeah,
for the next match, or at least just bowl a like for example the way Aditya Tare hit that six, right? The RR versus MI game. Suddenly you had 7 runs off that one ball, and that changed the net run rate. So I'm just curious from a net run rate benefit perspective, will teams want to play that extra ball? Because I don't know how that is. The rules of the game probably stop it at saying you've won, you've
Yeah, yeah.
taken that extra run. That's
You
fine.
can't because they needed 1 run. They needed 1 run of 5 balls. Then came a waste high full toss. So that 1 run is the no ball, right?
yeah,
So if they needed less, then there was a chance. But right
Right.
now they've actually won with still 5 balls to spare.
yeah. On the table, I feel RR is the only some one of five, six, or seven can come fourth, and I feel RR could be the team that slips. I'm not saying they're going to slip. They're the only team that looks like they might. I feel SRH is a lock in that top three. Heads in form. The top four is basically on red hot form. Heads back in form. Claasen's had a really good season, and they have a decent enough bowling lineup to win at least three out of the remaining games. Yeah.
Right.
My only thing with some of those teams, and that actually is RR and SRH, have they peaked too early? Because they've been on a dream run.
How
If
was
they got
SRH beat too early, man? They were shit for
they've
the
got
first half
five
of
out
the
of
season.
five. Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah,
they
after
got
they were
five out
shit
of
for the
five.
first half of the season, that's a
Not
comeback if
first
anything.
half. They got 3 games. First 3 games, of which they actually ended up winning one. Then they've got five on the trot, right? So
Yeah,
they had so currently they have 6 wins, no? 6 wins out of
yes.
9.
Hitting, you could say that Punjab peaked too early because they've been winning every match since their first.
I Because the thing with Punjab is no, I don't think they peaked at all. They've It's been a very matter of whatever. Like it's just been another day in the nets for most of their games. That 265 chase didn't look like at any point of time they weren't getting it. Right, the way the opener started off, it's just that Punjab team gives me that feeling that they're not overwhelmed by any situation. They're just taking it like another, walk in the nets. चलो थोड़ा सा 1 घंटा बैटिंग करके आते हैं. It's they're not there's no because there's so much iciness on the field, and I think it obviously comes down with from Ricky Ponting and Shreyas Iyer, their personalities. They're not very you know aggressive or visibly very
Ponting is, man.
demonstrative players.
Ponting is.
Ponting used to be as a player, not as a coach. He's very like he's sitting on the dugout, you won't get an expression out of him. And
Seriously?
Shreyas Iyer is one of that. Like unless I mean, if at all, he's got some aura of farming things going on. But generally, he's just walking around. It's almost like he's got a song running in his head, and he like things are working on autopilot in that team, right? So I feel, to me, it doesn't seem like they peaked. Maybe it's around the corner because that's how they were last season as well. It's just they're pulling off, but now it's because we know that they're capable of it. We are expecting lot
No,
higher standard from them as
last year they were slightly too over reliant on Iyer making runs almost every game against high quality opposition, which came and bit them slightly, right? Because in the
well. I'm not so
qualifier
sure. It
and the
was pretty much
final,
the same formula. I mean, it's both those games were the ones the openers failed in, right?
yeah.
But otherwise the openers were delivering, and that will happen. Openers will fail. Today, RR had their first game with both openers didn't even make double figures.
Yeah,
It was
on
four and
RR's openers, Suryavanshi, that Yorker seems to his bat was late to the Yorker, right? Is it a one ball thing or do you think it's a perceived
it's not a
weakness with
pattern enough for me to. But yeah, people should try it. If you get a good Yorker in, it's always a good ball for any batter, especially somebody with a high back lift.
with Arshdeep? I remember Arshdeep was trying a couple of Yorkers against him when RR did play Punjab, and
Mm-hmm.
he didn't get any. Wasn't able to score any runs off them. But then he went and bowled a short ball and got hit for a six, and then he bowls a low full toss and then he gets him out. So I think teams are going to try and start bowling to him there, and it'll be interesting to see how it works out because it looks like every bowler and their mom are scared of this kid, and
Mm-hmm.
planning seems to be starting just now.
Okay, I want to bring up a couple of more things. One is I want to discuss KL Rahul because he's now the orange cap holder. Another season hit looking like 500 plus. He's had just one blimp in the last. I mean, I've got these stats from 2020, but even before that, he was having a few seasons of 500s. So there's just one blimp if you see one 274 run season. And 2026, the number is low because he didn't play that many matches, right? Sorry, 2026 is the current one, so he's only been
26
playing.
is this year, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Um, yeah, so 2023 was the that famous Goenka year, right? Or
Yeah.
was it 24? Was that 24? Whichever year that was. Um, so that's just one faulty thing. But if you notice, there's a pattern of his strike rate going steadily upwards, right? He, I mean, this year he's at 185, which is among there with the best. No? I mean, obviously he
Yeah.
doesn't have it like Suryavanshi or some of those guys, Arya and all that. But 185 as an opener, averaging 55, 54, it's fantastic.
He's steadily going up, but couldn't you argue that the league's average strike rate or runs per over has also been going up per
No,
year?
But
it's a
as an
fair
individual,
comparison.
as an individual, currently he's the number one from the total runs and number five on strike rate.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
that's
he gives
incredible
you.
numbers,
See,
right?
The point here is he's giving you depth, which is he's scoring those runs. He's also scoring it at a faster rate, which is why I said KL Rahul is probably an underrated gem. In the age of Suryavanshi and 220 plus strike rates, we're kind of undermining a 180 strike rate on a flat track because we feel that it's a few runs lower. But if you take this thing to a place like Australia, where you're going to be tested with high quality bowling, maybe there's a case for KL Rahul to come back into the side. Of course, with the current side, there's no space to come in. But I think if KL Rahul is going to be steadily on the rise, maybe there's an opportunity here because he's a high quality player.
Uh,
So see, the thing is, this. I mean, I know you're a fan, I guess, as am I, but I think Indian cricket has moved beyond him for T20 because if you see, there are 7, 8 batters who are kind of vying for that opening spot, right? I mean, there are 7 of them I can readily think of. The two Punjab ones, the two RR ones, one of the ones from
Shubman, Sai.
Sunrisers. Yeah, Shubman and Sai, I wouldn't even put in that list right now. So that's as
But tell me one
two
thing. I think
guys.
this should be a question tomorrow, maybe on the podcast, where we also review who are the people opening. I doubt if people have the depth and range as well as KL Rahul. Like for example, Jaiswal, has he had a 600 run season?
Yeah,
Sure,
he has.
Jaiswal has always been on the fringes,
He
but
has. Yes.
uh, I mean, I'm talking about the consistency. Like for example, you look at KL Rahul over the last couple of seasons, he's had an incredible average. Somebody who's averaging 50 plus. It's like Virat Kohli level, especially in this format. So my question is to see where is KL Rahul compared to these guys on totals when you're chasing 150 plus, sorry, 200 plus, maybe you're chasing something less than 150. So where is it that the strong suit of these openers are? I think that is probably a way to look at it, and maybe we could maybe look at it tomorrow in
Sure.
tomorrow
You're
night's
right.
podcast.
I would put him in the same kind of mix as Shubman Gill, Yashasvi, and Sai Sudarshan, in the sense that these guys are fairly consistent year on year. Obviously, there's a lesser sample size with Sai and with Yashasvi because they've only pretty much had only 3 seasons. But I think from memory, I think they've for them the 3 seasons have been 450 plus with a 45 plus strike rate and a 140 plus, sorry, 45 plus average and a 140 plus strike rate for all of them. And because it also is which you have to judge where which fields they play in. So Rahul was playing for LSG for a couple of those years, where the general scoring is much lower, right?
Right,
Whereas these guys are playing on belters, Yashasvi
right,
and um, company. So there are obviously two kinds of openers. One who are just slam bang, no look sixes, and one is these kind of guys who give you depth, which I think working well in franchise cricket. But I think I mean, so obviously Sanju comes in that category as well, right? And I think it's worth considering how Sanju holds his spot ahead of a Rahul or Shubman Gill. I mean, obviously there
See,
is merit to compare them.
Both Shubman and Rahul can smash potentially to a level that Sancho can on terms of strike rate, but they are more likely to go defensive or they won't pull out all the shots. Sancho will pull out all the
no, hold on,
shots
man. See,
nine
see,
out
see.
of ten.
Those kind of
That's highly
those
subjective.
exactly. It's highly subjective. Bring an objective parameter to a conversation, because the way I would say it is, look at it in terms of matches. For example, if you're batting first, what's your average? What kind of totals have you been a part of? What's your contribution percentage? And in wins, how often are you the critical part of a win? I think they have to look at all of these factors. I'm sure KL Rahul is not there in the reckoning for the top five openers out of if you have to pick two. But I think if conditions come, if somebody goes out of form, KL Rahul is definitely making a claim for that spot to get back. Of course, from the horrors of 2021, 2022, where there was this perception that if there was a left arm bowler bowling, KL Rahul will play a maiden out and it's a T19 match instead of a T20 game. We've moved on from that. I think KL Rahul has also moved on from the persona that said that strike rate is overrated. And I think KL has moved that. And that way, and that's where I think when you have 500 plus run sessions for all of these batters, you've got to look at what kind of games will these guys contribute in. Because my perception still is I think one of the games KL Rahul was derided, saying that in a 220 chase, KL Rahul is batting very slow. But in today's game, that wasn't the case. So I think KL definitely has a ceiling. It's just that you will have to look this up, and maybe that's an exercise for us tomorrow to have a more objective look at this conversation. I'm sure KL won't figure in the top five slots, but what is the conditional probability that KL makes it is the objective case that we can make as fans.
Yeah, we can compare the other five to
No,
six
so
Indian
the,
openers with
the
him.
the subjective case I will make for KL Rahul is that because he's our test opener and a one-day wicket keeper, he doesn't make it to the third team. And I think that's the only way Indian cricketers will survive. Or rather, that's the only way you cannot. I don't think you can play people across three formats. It's just too much of cricket, and therefore too much of workloads. Because and I think that's fine because our T20 cupboard is quite full. Yeah, these guys are not playing any other format. Abhishek is not playing any other format apart from T20. So I think Gill and Sai Sudarshan are playing tests, so therefore they shouldn't be considered for one day. I feel, or at least for T20. So I feel Prabh Simran, Priyansh, uh, Yashasvi is also in the test squad, so that leaves Vaibhav and Ishan Kishan. These are the only four people I feel who are and Sanju until he makes it across. So I think at best you're looking at people in two formats, not in three. And for Indian cricket, what is the best two formats for each player? And I think definitely as a fan, given that Virat and Rohit are not playing Test cricket anymore, I definitely want to see KL Rahul maximize Test cricket for the next 3 to 4 years.
I think we have T20 specialists. We have guys playing T20 who don't play the other two formats, and quite a few of the test guys do play ODI, but none of them, besides I think Jaiswal, trickled down to the T20, and Prashid. I think there was a time where Prashid was playing all three, right? So besides
I
those
mean,
two, I don't think
Bumrah is playing all three, but when it's required to play all three,
technically, yeah,
right? So you
but he
you
doesn't play
play
the
the
bilateral.
BG, he plays the BGT and then he plays the World Cups. So that because you
Yeah.
need him badly enough that there's no second best option, right? Whereas I think for T20 openers there are at least 8 options you can put on the park today.
Yeah.
And see what also happens is these guys are more valuable in their franchise team than they would be in the Indian team because the Indian national team doesn't have a weak spot in that sense, right? Typically, you're getting the best number three, the best number four, the best number five, the best number six, the best number seven. And in many cases, those are all rounders. So our international team is doing well because each spot is occupied by the best pedigreed person. Uh, and yes, you can debate whether Akshar and Hardik currently are the best six and sevens, but generally they have been, and at their peak they will be.
On the Rahul matter, I don't think we can. I think it'll be interesting if we pull up a few numbers tomorrow and compare him with the other openers because, yeah, 185 averaging 54 are extraordinary numbers. But as Nirav said, there are 6 to 7 other openers who have a claim to that spot besides Sanju and Abhishek themselves. So we will get back to you on that tomorrow
Yeah.
with some numbers.
Yeah, and
Okay.
technically, there's even Virat Kohli there, who's not competing for a spot, but even Virat's getting there. With that said, we've discussed a lot on KL Rahul. Tomorrow's game, if we have to just put a little preview to tomorrow's game, that is
This is
Mumbai
Karthik.
versus Chennai Super Kings.
Yeah.
First question: Are you? Sorry,
No, no, yeah, go on, go on.
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my internet's acting up a bit. So yeah, tomorrow the MICSK game is there at Chepauk, and I'm just curious to say, okay, who am I going to pick technically to win? And I'm going to go with the Nirav answer, saying that okay, the team that chases is probably whom I'm going to face. But I'm
Then
really
you can
not
say
able to
MI.
choose between MI and CSK.
You might as well say MI because Rutraj has lost every single toss he's tossed this year.
Things might change tomorrow in that case. And it's not like Hardik's been getting the decision right after winning the toss. When he chooses to bat first, they lose. When he chooses to chase, then they lose. So you know, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think that's
it's
that's
is
an
it going to be one
interesting
of the
point.
games that
That
who wants to lose less? Is it going to be one of those games?
Right, right. And I'm reminded of Hardik's comment saying, "I don't mind losing" or something like that. He said that in the West Indies. They lost the ODI series 1-2. So, but that said, I think Mumbai Indians are coming off an extremely bad run of form. One more loss could mean that they're just preparing for the season ahead, which is the 2027 season. Similar for CSK, I think both these teams are fairly at the lower end of the table, where they can't catch up with the other top three, top four teams. And yeah, as much as it's a basement battle, I still think that the one who wins might see light at the end of the tunnel. The only question is that light of a better future, or is that light of a train that's about to mow it down, which is the rest of the games that are there. So where you get some hope, and in RCB Nag's world, it just means that inflate deflate thing, where your hope is given in case CSK wins or MI wins, but that hope is going to be crushed because they don't have enough of their talent to compete with some of the top teams. But yes, it's a game one is still looking forward to as the El Clasico. But as much as it's the El Clasico, there's this hype around the game. I don't think it's kind of lived up to it with both these teams not performing well.
I'm just going to bring up the points table and see whether actually tomorrow's game makes a difference to anybody else. And CSK gets to 8, which still probably leaves them, 6 or down. It's not like they'll be in the top 5.
I think the CSK would have probably, depending on net run rate, let's assume they win, their net run rate is still higher than that of DC.
DC. So,
So CSK just
so they get to
get
6
back to
at best.
Yeah.
their original
Yeah.
spot. Yeah.
If MI win, they make it ahead of KKR. So basically, MI's objective in this tournament is to stay out of the bottom 3. And I don't think CSK or DC are making it from this point. 9, with having to get 4 wins out of 5 and hope other results go your way, it's going to be a little tough one.
Yeah, I think
Ideally,
that's going to look very,
if
very.
either of those two win all their
And I think
matches, which
GT and Punjab have a game over the weekend. So if GT loses that, that's the end of the bottom. I mean, the top 4 is decided because then it becomes super 4 out of 5 wins and hope all results go versus you. I think that will be a little tough one.
yeah,
So on that note, are we doing predictions?
Yes, let's go ahead. I'm going to go with CSK winning, where MI wins the toss, chooses to bat first, and then CSK wins the game. So
CSK
I'm going to go with
chooses to win.
CSK winning the game. CSK winning by chasing tomorrow. What
CSK
about
is winning.
you,
Okay.
Nirav and
I'm actually going with the team batting first one because I think Chennai pitch would have been baked well enough by now. So yeah,
man? That
I
city is
also say
on a
CSK.
different note.
Yeah.
it's not. You think?
CSK, okay. What are some of the comments that are coming from some of our fans? Uh, Manjunath says that he also favors CSK. MI's team dynamics are not looking good. That's what he's saying. And Arthav is asking us about the quiz. Yes, we're trying to figure something out. I think we're internally discussing to see if we can have a separate quiz day as such, not as part of this. We'll get back to you on that. We don't have a definitive answer right yet. But Steve Bice is saying that CSK is what he thinks. And Steve Bice is like, can we address Karthik's tweet, please? Which tweet are you talking about, man?
Be specific.
Which
Karthik
specific? Yeah,
tweets a
is
lot of
it the one that
garbage.
you're lot of stuff that I tweet about? I was tweeting about how
That's a lot
there's
of things.
yellow in Yellapur today, or I was also tweeting about the potential dick sizes in different parts of the world. So which one are you talking about? So while
I
Steve
think
Boy is trying
he meant all of the above.
all of the above, that one I think he's
Probably.
talking about the dick one. Yeah, I mean I just saw a rant. I was having my lunch or breakfast today at a place called Davangere in Karnataka. It's in North Karnataka. I was stopping by on my way to Goa, and while I was driving, I was having this bende dose. That's where I saw this thing about average penis sizes in different parts of the world. And I was like, who does these surveys? कैसे होता है ये? Is it clinical or is it somebody coming and saying यही है मेरा? So that way I was just curious कि ये कैसा होता है, and that's why I tweeted. It doesn't mean I only tweet cricket. Whatever makes me curious, I tweet about that. So that's the thing. But that said, here we are, 45 minutes into the conversation. Today seems like people have switched off the IPL. There are only 53 people on our stream. We're usually used to far, far bigger numbers, 150, 160, but we were at 174 last night. But I think it's people are just trying to figure out. It's a long weekend, so people are zoning off from the cricket, and we're also allowing you to go back, have a good weekend, and come back tomorrow for what's going to be the El Clasico. And looking forward to seeing your company tomorrow, same time, 11 p.m. Meanwhile, it's going to be bye from myself, Nirav, and Trinay. Any parting words, guys?
Good night, sleep tight.
And see
Don't
you
let the
tomorrow.
bus
I'll
back.
be back. And I'll be back with better internet. I'm sorry. The internet here, the place that I am in, is pretty bad. I should have sorted that out. But yeah, I'll probably figure that out tomorrow. Till then, see you. Good night.